we're going to be taking two linked lists and adding them together and getting a resulting sum linked list. And so for this problem, the numbers that these lists represent are in reverse of what's shown. So for this first one, will be equal to 45, and the second one will be equal to 345. And if we add these two numbers together, we get 390. And so the linked list that we want to get as a result is going to be 0, 9, 3. And so we're gonna have a few pointers. So we're gonna have res, previous, and temp are all gonna be null. And then we're gonna have variables of carry and sum. And carry will be initialized to 0. And then we're gonna have our sum. And so as long as until we and then we'll have first and second nodes for our list. And we're gonna be in this while loop as long as up until the point that both nodes get to null. And so what we do is sum will be equal to carry. So right now carry is at 0. And then if first isn't null, then we're gonna pass the data. So first is equal to 5. And then when second is not null, we'll have the data for second, which is 5. And so sum will be equal to 10. And then carry, if sum is greater than or equal to 10, then carry will be 1. And so in this case, we have 10, so we set carry to 1. And then sum will be, if we divide sum by 10, then we get the remainder. So in this case, sum will be 0. And then we'll set a new node for temp. And that's going to equal our sum. So we'll have a new node of 0 that temp will be pointing to. And if res equals null, which it is, then res will be equal to temp. And then previous will also be pointing here. And then if first isn't null, then first equals first.next. So we move this down. And then if second isn't null, then second equals second.next. So we move that down. And then we repeat the process again. So sum will be equal to carry. So now we have carry of 1. And then we'll pass through our first. We have 4. And then second is 4. And so we add those together and we get 9. And so then in this case, 9 is not greater than or equal to 10, so carry will be equal to 0. And then sum will be the sum divided by 10, the remainder, so sum will be 9. And so temp will be equal to a new node of the sum. So we said that. And then res is not equal to null, so now this else condition, prev.next will equal to temp, so prev is at our 0, and so prev.next will be pointing to this temp node at 9. And then again, we'll move first and second down. And so now sum equals carry. Her carry is 0. And now first is equal to null, so we will just set that to 0. And then we'll pass through our data for our second node, which is 3. So our sum now equals 3. 3 is not greater than or equal to 10, so carry remains at 0. And then sum is less than 10, so sum remains at 3. And so we create a new node with our sum. And we set it to temp. And then res isn't equal to null, so prev.next equals to temp. I forgot to do this in the last, so prev was actually supposed to be pointing to there where temp was last, and so now prev.next is pointing to 3. And now we'll move prev down to temp again. First is null, so we don't do anything there. Second is not null, so we move second down. So we now have both our lists are at null, so we come out of the while loop. If carry is greater than 0, carry is not 0. But if we had a value there, then we would be creating we would be adding that to temp.next, but because that is not our condition, we turn res, and so we get the resulting and we can see now if we reverse this, we would get 390, which 45 plus 345 plus 390, and so that's the result that we wanted.